Welcome back to day 114 of our chess journey to 1500 ELO and chess.com. Well, yesterday we had a bit of an oopsie at the end of the game, so we fell back a few points. Let's see if we can regain those today, and I'm ready to be learning some more and hopefully having a great game again today. We meet Abdrag from, is it Egypt? Sudan. I don't know if the flags are similar or not. Something just told me Egypt. We get a Bowdler attack. We've looked at this before. We have this here. I think we'll go for this. Takes, and here. No, the bishop comes back this way. If we go here, our opponent is likely to go a3. Because otherwise we threaten to trap the bishop, which would be less than ideal for our opponent. Is this an overcommitment? Honestly, we might wait with that move and come out with the knight first, because our king here is looking a bit open, I'd say. Although for sure I think this doesn't necessarily look like a bad move, but if our opponent responds correctly, I think it should not be the top engine move. So yeah, let's come out with the knight. A lot of players like to play the bishop out here in those kinds of positions. Our opponent here does not. Can we play like this and come out here? Alternatively, we could come here and castle. Let's have a look here and see if this is playable. Might be. I think we'll play here. Feeling a bit adventurous today, or rather a bit aggressive in terms of the chess. Now this is probably okay. This bishop here could come out to a few squares, I think. But I'd like to prioritize this bishop here because of getting castled. Here, if this is played and this is played, I don't quite like what happens here, so we'll delay that idea. But we can come out here first, cover our knight and queen. The bishop might have to move again at some point because it's in the line of the e-file. So maybe this becomes an idea. Our pawn here is protected by the knight. But if we come out here and this gets played, things look kind of annoying. We could come out here, and then it's not necessarily that bad, or well, it is, because takes and we can't take because of the pin, so I guess we'll come out here instead for the time being. Then let's castle. Still, this is an idea. This knight comes out here. I'm just feeling like there is some kind of tactic maybe with some pawns here, although I do not see it quite yet, or just yet rather. Here, a6 might be a move. The knight here is hitting 2 pawns after all. This is undefended, and this is defended. Let's look at this again. Here, I guess. I'm not thrilled there either. I don't quite enjoy having pushed the pawn here. Maybe it's just simply a weakening move, although I'm not quite sure yet. So what do we do here? I was looking at this, maybe playing something like this might be an okay idea. Getting some scopes towards the king and getting developed. You know what? Let's do it. It's probably an okay plan. It's just I want to have a look at what happens here. Then I guess we defend with the bishop if we get hit with this pin. This is the idea. This is maybe a move here, might be playable. Then maybe this, kicking the knight, followed by a5. The knight comes out here. I don't quite see why this was played. I guess it opens up this. The queen doesn't really need to be opened up here though. We might have this here. I think I prefer this. Or maybe this first. So this, and we can kind of mess up the pawns. This might be a move too. As I mentioned, this bishop coming here is annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Let's just get our piece out here first, I think, to what I consider to be a pretty decent square once we get this move in. Still, this might be a move. I'm saying still, but I didn't quite think of it until I mentioned it. If it's played though, I think the pawn structure here gets relatively stuck for the time being, and we could play this perhaps, and the bishop is going to be stuck behind here for the time being for quite a while. Although this pawn here could become a target, which it's already a target, at least for this knight. Now this knight, I'd like to get it out here. Our opponent here is threatening this pawn now. Not quite, but at least disallowing us from coming up, because then the queen takes. Now if we go here then, the pawn is hanging. So how do we play this? Let me have a quick look here. Let's say this is played. No, this doesn't work in our favor because our opponent takes here and we're just down material. So maybe coming up here, defending the bishop, preparing this move might be okay. But if we go here and this pawn is pushed, what then? This is still a target there. And we might have to play this so our opponent doesn't take. See, I'm not quite happy here with the position, but we'll just try and see here if we can get something out of, well, we do have something here, but not my favorite position here at all. This, I simply do not like playing against d4. But I guess if we have to, we have to. Maybe we could come up here. We kind of hold our stuff together, prevent this pawn push maybe in some positions. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to play the move. Oh, I meant to go here. I'm honestly in a daze here. I don't quite know here. This was not the intended move. Now our opponent can take. But let's see if this is still salvageable. The thing is, once the knight hits, we're kind of forked in a million directions, and once this is played, we're forced to react here as well. So this was what we should have played, I think. We don't really have a threat coming up here. Let's calculate this quickly though. Yeah, our opponent can just take. This is not good for us in the slightest. The bishop is going to take as well. Now we have to take as well, because otherwise our bishop gets taken. I kind of hate it when this kind of stuff happens. I play a move that I did not quite intend to play, but I did make the move though. It's not a mouse slip. I just kind of brain farted. So we'll be playing down a pawn for the time being. Not ideal, but it is how it is. How do we develop this knight? Probably here, connecting our rooks. Could hit the queen here. I don't think we want to come up here now anymore. There probably is no need at this point. This would come with a check. I think it's time we move this bishop up here, getting it a bit more active. This might be playable unless it loses a piece, which it appears to do. Only problem here is we prevent ourselves from getting to the square we'd like to get to. Could we go here? Maybe. It's just we would be giving up this bishop. I think here maybe, and the knight's going to have to find some alternative path. Yeah, let's go here. The queen isn't going to get hit just yet, but we'll see what we can do. Could we kick the knight? Could just come in here, I guess. We don't control d6 here at this point. We could come here though. Threatening this and opening up this might be an idea. Might definitely be an idea. Yeah, I'm just surprised about queen to c7 here. I guess I just did not focus at all there. I don't know what happened, but I did, I guess, wake up from a nap just a few minutes prior to starting this video, so that might be it, although I do not quite know. This pawn push takes away this. Could go here, but then this does not look good. So then, what do we decide on? Still, I would love to get the knight here, but we can't do that just yet. I'd like to double rooks. Should definitely be an idea here. Don't want to get up with this rook first, because then this hangs to the queen. So I think we'll go here with this rook. Our opponent's rooks are not connected yet, so they can't contest the file just yet. However, we can't come here because of this queen. Or, I mean, because of the pawn. This might be our ideal square. Taking away this from our opponent, while also looking to double. I'm kind of glad to see this move in some ways, because the bishop gets a worse position coming out here or here, as opposed to maybe here. Couldn't have come here though, so maybe not. Maybe, it's difficult to say. It's going to depend on how the game plays out. So we'll have to take a look at just that. Once again, if this knight moves, we might have a check here in some way, allowing us to get our knight to our ideal square. Or at least what I identify as a potential ideal square in this position. We just have to make sure this move doesn't kind of trap our bishop, which it might in some lines it's played. So our opponent here is taking away our option of playing bishop to d4 preemptively. Okay then, so do we have any reason not to play this move? Honestly, I do not quite think so. This to me looks like a pretty decent move, as our opponent is not at all contesting the file. The bishop here has to move. I guess this is good because it helps the rooks. So our doubling up might not be that powerful. So I guess what our opponent has got, which we do not, is this extra d-pawn. It could be pushed at some point, in which case we probably have to trade off our own c-pawn. Let's say this is played, this followed by this. It is. We might just see the rooks leave the board then, because I do not see a good way of preventing our opponent here from grabbing this file, unless maybe this immediately. This might be interesting actually. If we go here first, we win the bishop here, I think, and I don't think our opponent has a good threat down this way. So if we force the bishop to move, let's say here even, then it's going to get easier to play here and grab the file and apply pressure. And if the bishop moves even, we could start picking up some stuff. The only issue is if we leave the e file here, this bishop, this rook here rather, can't get to this square unless we control it with some piece. But still, as I mentioned, I did like the option here of coming up, and that does remain the case. Now if the queen leaves this diagonal, this could become a mate threat. The queen doesn't leave though. Now here and here, and we would be forced to trade off the rooks. I'm looking at this. The queen can't go here. Not here, here. It can go here actually though. This, and our opponent's just going to force the rooks off the board. Which I do not quite love. The reason they can do so is because e8 is not controlled by us. At least not by another piece. But wait a second here. Let's say this is played. Takes, takes, takes. Wait a second. Takes, takes. Takes, takes. No, we can't take this pawn either. Because this hangs and this hangs. I didn't see the knight hanging. Can we come here? Did look at this. Didn't quite love it. So I don't see a great plethora of options here, but let's assume we end up trading off here. Then what is left for us in the position? Our bishop here doesn't have a single move. Okay, so maybe just pushing the knight back first. But then it's going to go here and we get forced back with the rook. How about this, 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 and this? The knight has to move there. Could jump back. And then honestly, I don't know. I think I'll just play this move. I don't see a better alternative. This took a lot of time, but it really sucks in our position here if we end up having to trade down all the stuff because we're down material. Our opponent goes for this though, and this might not be bad for us actually. Oh, the knight's going to stay. Yeah, the knight's going to get into an outpost here. Okay. I think it's likely to come here and hit this. But do we have this at some point? Because for as long as the knight stays here, this pawn can't be pushed. But then we risk trapping our bishop if we ever play for the move we want to play for. This isn't something I expected. I'll have to say, I think this is a welcome sight. Our bishop is horrendously bad, so I think we would be happy to trade it off. But do we have a waiting move at all? Honestly, might just come up here again. And this, we'll play this. I did consider playing g6 here, but I didn't quite feel convinced, although it might have been a completely fine move. It's just if we trade off our dark squared bishop while our opponent has theirs, I don't quite love creating dark squared weaknesses around our king. Then we could be in for a horrendously bad time, at least at a later point. This can probably be pre-moved. I don't see a reason not to. The knight comes back, so let's drop back ourselves too. Can f4 be pushed to f5? Then I think we fork like this. This is the second time we see this position. If this is played again, I think... Oh. Well, this is interesting. What does our opponent intend here? Now we don't have to trade off this dark squared bishop, so I think we'll play it like this and maybe allow ourselves to get into this pocket to probably get this move in. The queen comes here, kind of staring at our knight again. Let's drop back. I would love to get our knight up, although it would block our bishop for the time being. It's going to be in a much better position than what it is currently. And well, again, it's going to be annoying the queen, which I don't see a good reason not to play. I do realize this move is available, which I did not see until now. If it's played, we'll just have to come up with a solution. Which probably would be something like coming up one square. Or well, that doesn't work because of this, so if this is played, if we go here and the bishop comes, still can't go here because it could come back. So this becomes quite problematic if we want to stay doubled on the e file. Can't come here either because, once again, it's annoying. But there is still this move, hitting the queen with tempo, and then we can move the rook, I think. Yeah, let's go for this, and we go here. So now the queen has to move, and then we can move the rook. We're prepared to take here if needs be. So let's have a quick look at this first. Do we just bully the queen again? No, we don't, because then we have to take this way. So if the queen comes up, I guess we can come back this way now, because the bishop can't come here. Or, well, now we can't go here still because of the knight. Okay. The queen can't threaten this pawn because of this pawn. Comes here. This and this might be played. That's going to have to do. This might be played as well, just being annoying and kind of pinning us. In which case, we might have to play this, followed by this, perhaps. We're down to 1 minute here. It's not an easy position, but I'll see what we can get done. This pawn here is undefended. We get takes, we will take. This might be played, or this might be played. It's our opponent's two most likely moves. Or wait a second. Oh, this opened up. No, this is bad. This is really bad. I did not see this at all. This might just be the kind of move that kind of kills us off immediately. I don't see a response in the slightest. Yes, we might just have to take still, and we're going to be down a lot of material. This pawn hangs now. It's just falling apart. We can't trade queens, then we automatically lose because we're so far down in material. Let's come up, I guess. Force the queen back. Defend this pawn horizontally. The problem is, once this is played, it gets difficult. Because then both of our rooks are kind of shut down. Which would be less than ideal. There is this as well at some point. But once we force the queen away from this square, this doesn't become an immediate forced checkmate. Luckily, I have to say. I guess that's why our opponent here is taking a bit of time, because they did want this configuration, in which case we did not have any counterplay to the checkmate. Does this work for our opponent? It might actually work. Honestly, that would be a funny line. Although I do not at all expect it to be played. The queen comes back, okay. Then what do we do here? I think maybe tripling up. to try and create something. The d1 square, how does our opponent defend it? This might actually be good. No, then I think we have this. This is played, but is this not a mistake because of this move? No, then this. So I think we have to come up with the king first. The queen or the knight can't take the pawn because then we come down here. I think. Honestly, this is quite the position. But if we get this move, I'm slightly more hopeful here. Just slightly. I'm honestly at this point praying for a draw. This. Oh, no, this doesn't work actually. Because we can't take with the queen, so this pawn can actually be taken. Whoops. Oh no, never mind. What am I talking about? It's completely defended. Oops. So this is played. Okay. Let's slide on over. We kind of lose our triple battery here. Was fun as long as it lasted though. Now this square here is weak. It's immediately taken advantage of. And we can't take because then this becomes bad. So we'll have to drop back. And now this becomes a threat. Our opponent here is playing fantastic chess. This, and there is this. Are we just checkmated here? Our only move might be this, sacking the queen. In which case, we're in a horrendously bad spot. No. Oh, this is even better. Honestly, at this point, it's resignable. We're down 13 points of material. I'll just go ahead and resign here and say thanks for the game to our opponent. They played a fantastic game. Let's jump on ahead into the game review here and have a look at how we should have played differently. So we played with 79.8 today and our opponent played with 89.1. I have to say this was a fantastic performance by them. We did not have a single blunder or a single miss, yet we got absolutely crushed. This is just a reversed position, I guess, of what sometimes happens for us. Still, I'm quite happy with it. I have a game rating of 1800 in the Sicilian. It seems our opponent kind of gradually squished us throughout the game here. This was all normal, all good. This was actually the best move. The differences are slight, but this was just the one bad move that made it difficult to play. I was looking for this, which was the best move. But still, this wasn't the end of the world. We were back to equality. So when was the equality last? Here, we should have played this. Forcing the queen back, coming in here, targeting this. And let's say this is played, then we take. And if not, then this pawn falls. I didn't see this. I saw this, but I did not see how powerful this was paired with this bishop on the diagonal. Still, we had a lot of good moves. This, honestly, I did expect it to be slightly bad, but I didn't quite see any convincing moves. Should have apparently just, yeah, should have not left, or should have not forced ourselves to double up, but I didn't see any good counterplay apart from staying doubled. Here, if this was played, why is this not free? It's because of this, which is a discovery. And this is not any good at all. Let's say this is played, we're just in a losing game. Here we should have went this way, which I would have not found. Bishop, I'm saying. Rook to b6 is not a move I would have looked at all here. Apparently this is slightly better. This was good. Should have apparently just stayed doubled. And here we didn't really have anything. Apparently the evaluation here only says +6 for white. Why in the world is that the case? Surely it's much worse for us. It might not be understanding the position considering the depth here. Let's say this is played one move and it immediately goes 11. I think if we play more moves, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. Here it says mate in 7, but that's apparently an inaccuracy. Let's say f5 is played. We lose this. And now it's mate in 31. Yeah, it's just not a good position. So absolutely well played to our opponent today. They deserved this game. This was a fantastic showing in the Sicilian by them. So I guess we'll be rounding it off here by thanking our opponent once again, Abdurrag from Sudan, for a fantastic game. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. This has been our game for today, guys. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. There we go. Bye bye.